I'm Shaila Mirahari. I'm a freshman, Women's and Gender Studies, Political Science double major with a minor in German. And I'm bisexual and Middle Eastern. And I definitely think both of those identities kind of, like, not really cause an issue, but are definitely, like, a part of my experience at SLU and kind of cause, like, an exclusion in SLU's environment. But particularly my bisexuality, more so than my, like, race and ethnicity. So, regarding bisexuality, I've never had anything directly said towards me about my bisexuality. I'm also not really, like, really out on campus, but like the face of bisexuality at SLU. But I definitely hear really ignorant comments by students. Can I say ignorant? Yeah. Really ignorant comments by students around campus regarding different sexualities. You know, obviously homosexuality, but bisexuality for sure. They kind of are like, oh, if you're dating a guy, then you're straight, and if you're dating a girl, then you're a lesbian at the time. They don't understand that, like, bisexuality is a thing, and if they do, they, like, one time I heard a guy talking about a girl who was bisexual, and he's like, she really needs to pick a side already. And I was like, that's not how this works. It doesn't work that way. And for people who say that, it's definitely, I just feel like they need to be more educated on the topic. Not just bisexuality, but sexuality in general. Because often when you think that, like, I wonder what they think about, like, pansexuality and asexuality. But for people who say that, it's just like, it's not really a decision that you make. You can't just pick one side. You're either equally attracted to both. I mean, you can sometimes be more attracted to men than women, but you're definitely attracted to both of those genders, and it's difficult to kind of pick a side. Like, you can't just do that. I'm not really in the, like, queer community of SLU. I have a few friends who identify as, like, gay or pansexual, most of which I've met through UNA, the feminist club. You should come to meet it. But it's a very small group of people, like maybe 5 people I know who don't identify as, like, heterosexual. But at the same time, I have yet to meet someone. Actually, no, I've met one person, but we're not really close, who is bi. But we've never been able to, like, sit down and, like, share our experiences. And I feel like it's also because, like, they're more recent to this community and they just don't feel comfortable with that yet, which is fine. But I don't really feel like there's, like, a network for people who fit into that group. It's really difficult to find one where people are, like, comfortable and open. Even with, like, Safe Zone and Rainbow, like, those are all great. But at the same time, people have to feel comfortable enough to go to Safe Zone and to go to Rainbow to be in a comfortable environment. Not everyone's at that point. Like, regarding assimilation on campus, I don't really feel as if I want to, but there are moments regarding, like, either when it's communicating with, like, a peer, or if it's, like, in a, I guess, like, academically professional standpoint or viewpoint, I have to kind of fit in with, like, what they perceive as a SLU student would be, like, or I have to kind of, like, fit into that, like, not to say that all SLU students are like this, but I feel like SLU is a very, like, peppy, like, upper middle class white campus, and sometimes if you don't fit into that, like, stereotype of, like, vineyard vines and chacos, can I say this? Yeah. Okay. So I don't feel forced to assimilate by people at SLU. At the same time, however, I feel like for organizations I'm involved in, or, you know, for my major and, like, the type of presence I want to have, if I want to have that louder voice, I do need to assimilate, and I do need to kind of fit in to what other students are like, and kind of, like, what that idea of, like, normal or conventional is, and it's kind of difficult to do that. As I said, I'm Middle Eastern, and I feel like we do have the Middle Eastern Student Association. However, I didn't know about that till, like, 2 weeks ago. I just feel like, you know, they have the Asian American Association, which is great. However, that's, like, very broad. Whereas I feel like the Middle Eastern Student Association is a little bit more, like, specific, and it'd be nice to have, like, a community of people who I can relate to regarding, like, a specific type of, like, Asian culture. But it wasn't really ever, like, broadcasted to me. Even at SLU Fair, I felt like they didn't have as large of a presence as other, like, minority organizations did. So it's hard to kind of be in tune with that part of my identity when I just feel like that's not, like, something that's, like, proposed to me as I would like it to be. Like, I mean, there's a month left of classes. I'm not gonna, like, drop on in and be like, I'm part of this now. Maybe next year, but yeah. I definitely think that people at SLU do fall victim to like a stereotype. They do believe in them and perpetuate them a lot, which was very, very evident during the Ferguson protests, which was a very odd thing to start out your SLU experience with. And I know I've heard stereotypes about bisexuality in terms of oh, well, you probably have cheated on everyone you've been in a relationship with, or you're just not a loyal person and you probably sleep around a lot. It's no, but okay. With Middle Eastern culture, it's not a stereotype, but it's more of an assumption oh, I'm Middle Eastern, so I'm Muslim. Or oh, I'm Middle Eastern, so I hate Jewish people, which is ironic because my family's Jewish. But so that's always been very evident on campus to me, at least. Maybe it's not an everyday occurrence, but I've definitely heard these comments, if not directed towards me, definitely directed towards other people, especially about the Muslim Student Association a lot. So I've dealt with heteronormativity a lot on campus, which is the assumption that someone is straight. And that is, I'm currently dating a cisgendered man. And when I talk about oh, my boyfriend, or my boyfriend and I did this, or I say a story or bring up his name, a lot of times the assumption is that anyone I've ever been with is a man, and that I'm straight because I'm with a man now. When that is obviously not the case. I'm bi, and I have been with women before. And when I say that, because the assumption that I'm straight has been made, there's always you've been with what? And I'm women. It's a word you use every day. And it's always increases the shock factor, which they do to themselves. And but yeah, so heteronormativity I've heard of a lot. Obviously, I feel if people see someone, they're just oh, I wonder if he's dating a girl or if she's dating a guy, and it's that's not always the case, and they could not want to date anyone ever. What I would like the SLU community to know about either of my identities regarding bisexuality is it's a lot like homosexuality. It's not a choice. If you're dating a man while you're bisexual, that does not make you straight at the time. And if you're dating a woman, that does not make you a lesbian at the time. You are still bisexual regardless of the gender of the person you're with. Also, about being Middle Eastern, not every Middle Eastern, actually no Middle Eastern typically is a terrorist, so stop saying that. We're not all Muslim. We don't hate Jews. A lot of us are Jewish. And we're really nice people. And we're not all from Saudi Arabia. We don't all wear headscarves. Educate yourselves also.